Good morning, everyone. Um, it is Friday, July 18th, 2025, at about 11 o'clock in the morning. I am the clinician called Dylan. My primary pronouns are they, he, ze, and it. And in this video journal today, I'm going to talk about some of my experiences with mental illness, the scary parts of mental illness, addiction and recovery, and homelessness, almost certainly. Those are like the three main topics. So I am, today is officially day 70 without a drink of alcohol. I feel pretty good about that. I didn't care about quitting drinking. Now it's just kind of like, it was a personal challenge. I wanted to see if I could go 6 months without any alcohol. And almost succeeded because I was in jail, but as soon as I got out of jail, I relapsed because, dear God, that was a horrific experience. Jail would probably be a part of this too. But relapsed as soon as I got out of jail, and then relapsed as soon as I got out of the hospital that I ended up in to try to deal with the trauma from being in jail. And at this point, I've decided I just don't like buildings. I don't like being inside of buildings. I don't like closed doors. I don't like having to go further into a building than, like, if I can't see the door to get out, I don't want to be in that building. Which makes going to grocery stores, Walmart, the pharmacy, hospitals terrible. Going to visit doctors and therapists. Oh yeah, I want to go see my therapist in a building that has a psych hospital. I could just be locked in and never be allowed to leave that building again. That sounds great. Like the months after I got out of jail, I trauma. So I have some of the scary kinds of mental illness, the sort of symptoms that it shocks people who only know me in situations where I am not overwhelmed and not in a dark place. Because I am both one of the kindest, most generous, gentle, loving people you could ever want to meet, and kind of a scary, toxic asshole. I try to be less of a scary, toxic asshole. Where do I want to start with that? So I've had since childhood a rather distressing fixation with death, violence, sex and sexual violence. A bird running up a tree for some reason. You can fly. Why are you doing that? And that looks fun. Schizophrenia, ADD. Let's see. What am I just? I'm just listing things now because I got distracted. Yeah. See, I knew you could fly, dickhead. The animals don't mind if you cuss at them and call them names. If you laugh while you say it. But since early childhood, like people who know me now and have only known me since I decided to choose a less violent path, I'm often surprised to find out that I was like a very violent child. That mostly stopped in my teen years, with a few notable and rather regrettable exceptions. But I just like I grew up in a culture of violence, which is to say, in the United States of America, just in a military family, in a very racist white town in the 80s, as a trans kid who, my solution to, oh, you don't think I'm a boy? I will be a bigger, badder, tougher boy than you then. I'm a tiny person. I've never been 5 feet tall in my life. I got to 4'11". Probably for the better that I grew low, because if I had been like if I was just sized up, or like the frame that I have, and like the level of physical fitness that I had as a child, if I had just been a large child instead of an incredibly small child, it would have been bad. Because I would just attack random children. As an adult, I've done a lot of work helping children who are like me choose the less violent and kinder path much earlier than I did. A lot of difficult feelings. I By the time the pattern of violence is established, the amount of emotional violence a person has had to do to themselves, because I don't think that most people are wired to want to do violence to other people. It's a learned habit. It's a learned behavior. At least for me, I did not like hurting people when I was very young. I grew a taste for it. And it bothers me. Because like I still have some very distressing thoughts. And now I'm hanging out with someone who like he's too sweet. I like him. Constantly talked about the fistfights he's gotten into in his record and all that. Thought he was a badass. No, he's a super sweet guy. Keep warning people that I'm not as nice a person. I'm a much nicer person than I give me credit for. Like at this point, I think I have developed the habit of kindness rather than the habit of cruelty. But I very intentionally set out as a child um, to be intimidating and frightening. That was the point of a lot of my behavior, was to be intimidating, to be frightening, and because I was frightened, like I was a very small, vulnerable person, but I was also like got all these wild, violent impulses, and like like I was picked on, but I'm kind of one of those people that has to one up, you know. Oh, you've got a trauma story? I got something worse. Oh, you did something bad? I did something worse. So now I'm trying to focus on the positive things and how do I move forward? Like I just deleted another whole fucking mess of recordings because I wanted to give someone my old phone. So I just deleted all the shit that I couldn't be bothered to go back and rewatch, like all of the stuff from my most recent Manic episode, and just deleted all without reviewing it. It might still be saved to my Google account, and I don't know. I don't have the heart. Like I went through that nightmare, and not a mission in life. Like that whole thing with God giving me purpose and Odin favoring me. My heaven is with the bad guys. Because I'm a bad guy who just wanted to be less of a bad guy. So like when I tell my normal friends about like the things that I do for fun, which is like walk around barefoot at like around Methadone Mile, picking up used needles that I find on the ground. Going out to the middle of the city in the middle of the night, just looking for people who look like they're in distress. Going to areas that the police don't patrol as heavily because they don't feel safe there, looking for people who need help. It's a gamble. So far I'm winning. But like there came a point in my paranoia where like I just had to accept that I'm going to die sooner or later. And at any moment it could be anything at all. I refuse to just sit around living in fear. And like people are constantly warning me the things you're doing are dangerous and you're gonna get hurt. And I'm like, yeah, it's probable. I have a mission. I knew someone who said that God spoke to her and her mission was to rehabilitate drug-addicted babies. And she did that for, I think, at least 30 years before. Like, she'd been doing it for a really long time. She adopted a couple of them. I really admired her. Her name was Donna. She was the only person that I knew of at the time who had ever told me, like, God spoke directly to her. And he told her to do something completely insane. She loved her life living around that mission. And I love my life living around my mission. When I have to take time to rest and recuperate and withdraw and not extend the loving kindness, that's really all it is. I just go out in the world, and most of what I do is have difficult conversations with people because I can just tell. Like, if you've been in addiction and recovery and mental health and problems in the world long enough, you can tell when a person is just in emotional distress. You just go talk to people. And a lot of the people that I've encountered in my travels in life, I'll probably never see them again. I'll never know for sure what the impact I had was. But if I encounter a person in distress and like when I walk away from them, they are better. They are healthier. They are at least safe for that moment. That has a ripple effect. You know? I'm always telling people, like, don't discount the ripple effect that your existence has on the world. And think about the ripple effect that your existence is going to have on the world. Because I could get mad and fly off the handle and yell at people for random things some more. I didn't enjoy doing that. It was a compulsive, like, I couldn't stop certain behaviors because it was just too unwell. It gave me an extraordinary amount of patience and compassion for other people who have the same problem. I can sit with people who are in the throes of it, like raging and screaming and throwing things, and as long as I don't feel that I am physically in danger, and I can tell the difference between someone is angry near me and someone is angry at me, someone is being violent near me and someone is being violent towards me. Right up until I feel like my actual physical safety is compromised, I will just let people have their feelings. And frequently it's men, the vast majority of the times it's men, need someone who can sit with them long enough and not be afraid of them long enough that they can find their vulnerable spot and break down and cry. Because people who don't have rage issues and who don't have violent anger issues probably don't know and simply cannot emotionally understand how difficult it is to live with knowing you're the bad guy, and also that you're the bad guy because your feelings hurt. Anger is a painful emotion. It's usually sitting on top of a mountain of sadness. And if you can let someone get through enough of the anger, vent out enough of it, and really make a space where they feel safe showing you their emotions, because anger is a defensive emotion. If you can get someone to feel safe enough that they feel safe being vulnerable, it's a whole lot of dudes that just need a good cathartic cry. Like I've lost track at this point of the number of men, just total strangers, random men, that I've held while they just sobbed brokenly because no one loved them anymore. I know what that's like. And I've had my life saved by a random stranger who just had that moment and could see that person is at a crossroads, at least. The last time I was really feeling like I might kill myself, I walked past someone I hadn't seen in months who had ended our friendship because there were problems on both sides. She's an abusive person. I'm an abusive person. Yeah, I hate saying it. It hurts. I have abusive tendencies. Let's go with that. But I told that woman that she had saved my life. And when she decided for the third time to be just wildly emotionally abusive, she told me she regretted saving my life. Told me I was an unhinged psycho and a stalker after she stalked me. Uh, so, you win some, you lose some. That's not someone I'm gonna be welcoming back into my life again. But, you know, I hope she decides to start stalking me again and gets to see this. Because, that woman is an abusive parent who triggered my PTSD so badly while she was supposed to be letting me have a safe place to stay for the night. Like, yeah, like, just everything that you should not do, she did. Yelling at me while I try to eat food. Just, like, just watching the way she interacted with her own son, just like I'm like going through like a resurgence of the emotions of the abuse from my own childhood, and then I'm just like, the only place I can safely sleep is in this house where I get to watch this woman abuse her son in real time. I'm sure she loves him. She treats him like absolute shit. And when I pointed out to her that day that she was being abusive towards him, she didn't even realize she'd been yelling at him and calling him names and all this, like calling him a dumbass and a fucking idiot and all this other stuff. Her disabled son that she does not allow to learn how to do things for himself. Like, oh, I'm petty. I am petty and mean. Kind enough to kind enough to give a random stranger the shirt off my back. Kind enough to rescue random people, do whatever, but I I only take being abused by the same person so many times before I just, okay, we're done. Goodbye. And that's more than enough. So, yeah, there we go. We'll leave it at that. 20 minutes is probably long enough. Um, I was a bad guy. That's why I'm willing to hang out with bad guys. That's why I'm willing to tolerate being treated fairly poorly for a little while. And I just assert boundaries and assert boundaries. Oh, you violated my boundaries again. I don't like the way you're treating me again. It's very difficult to get me to walk away from a person, but telling me that you wish you would let me kill myself instead of be nice to me, that'll do it. I love me.